Feel free, got a moment, it's fine, don't worry about it. All right, so my name is Alex Ruddock. I run product marketing at Influitive. I'm assuming that the green button is forward, correct? Excellent. So quick question for everybody here. Who is a product marketer? Everybody. So we're amongst friends. We all know, we all speak the same language. This is nice. I am the only product marketer, so it's great to actually be with other people like me. Another question for you. Does anybody know what an advocate is? Not necessarily a political advocate, but an advocate in business. Does that mean anything to you guys? Definition? Yeah, that's a great one. Anybody else with a, yeah? Yeah, okay, excellent. Has anybody ever seen advocates in the other light? They're not necessarily happy about what you do? Yeah? So at Influitive, we think about advocates all the time. And the way that we think about them is you have a bunch of different types of customers, right? You have your happy customers, your kind of neutral customers, and then you have your dissatisfied customers. They can all advocate. They can all tell you stuff. They can all participate in what you do. And so I'm going to talk to what we use to engage with them. Customer engagement, that's our version of the modern approach to customer engagement. We'll talk a bit about customer marketing versus product marketing, who owns what, how product marketing leverages advocates, and then I'll do a quick wrap up. So the first thing I'm going to do is just tell a quick story, and I'll provide some context. So the first thing to know is that we had a key customer, and they wanted to see best-in-class work. So they were in the middle of implementation, and they wanted to see what everybody else was doing. We needed to show a really good demo, and we didn't want to just show any demo. We wanted to go beyond our regular demo environment and actually show as many examples of customers as we possibly could. So what we did was we put out an ask. And so at Influitive, we have an advocate community. We have a piece of software that we use that enables us to communicate with customers. And there's a bunch of cool things about this software, and I'll talk about what some of those are. But one of the core components is that we can target customers very precisely, and we can put content in front of them at a certain time. So at any point in their customer journey, we can present them with content that we want them to engage with. So in the advocate community, I put out a request, and I basically just said, hey, can we show off your hard work to a fellow customer? And it was a simple response, right? Yes or no. And we had a very tight deadline. This call was the next day, so midnight. And here's the result. So one request took me about 2 minutes to design and publish the request. 3 hours later, we had 32 logos say yes. This is pretty good. That's a pretty quick turnaround time. I was in a pinch. I got 32 people to not only say, yes, you can use our logo, to not only say, yes, we're happy to be shown to fellow customers or to prospects, but you can actually demo our environment in real time. You can go in and you can show other people what we're using. So that's pretty cool. And so the key takeaway for me is that an engaged advocate community, engaged customers, allow you to rapidly recruit those customers when you need them most. That's great. So I'm going to talk a bit about our approach to customer engagement. It's not necessarily a new approach to customer engagement, but I think it is a little bit new in the post-sale world. So there's a lot going on in this diagram. I'm going to focus on the center first and then kind of work out. So we've got customer marketing, customer experience, and customer success. And all of these people are trying to talk to customers, right? Customer marketing is involved in lifecycle marketing, advocacy. Customer experience is doing research. They're trying to get you information on the product and the customer journey. And then customer success is all about adoption and support, right? Getting people to adopt as quickly as possible and to get as successful as possible. And all this requires engagement, right? Customers need to engage with you. They need to engage with your content. They need to engage with your CSMs. They need to be, they need to lean in when you want them to. If they ignore you, how are they going to get better at using the software, right? And so we see engagement as kind of like the core goal of these different functions. And then the way that we approach that engagement is we use sort of a 4-step loop. The first thing is targeting, so making sure that we're presenting content to the right people at the right time. The second thing is personalization, right? You can't give everybody the same message, the same positioning, it won't work. The next thing is gamification. So we actually use some sneaky psychological tricks to try and get people to engage at a higher rate and that, in a more habitual way. And then the final thing to kind of close this loop is recognition and rewards. And so I'll talk a bit about what that looks like now. So how does this work? So the first thing to understand is incentives, right? When we are trying to get our customers to engage with us, we present them with some sort of incentive. The next thing is there's an activity. So there's something that they get at the end, points, rewards, badges, levels, progress. And the way that they get that is by engaging with us, performing these activities. And then the thing that we do is we string these activities into journeys, and then we present different people with different journeys depending on where they are as a customer, right? Implementation, just after implementation, maybe they've been around for 5 years, maybe 10 years. Each sort of persona, each group needs different stuff, and so we try to cater to that as much as possible. All right, so what does personalization mean? Personalization is an intense focus on the customer and their experience. We have Alice here. She's a data engineer. She works in engineering, and she uses a very specific product, DataCube Pro. But what else do we know about her? Well, we know that she enjoys competition. She desires mastery. She seeks career advancement, and she loves to learn. These are things that we need to know because we're designing incentives. Well, what are Alice's incentives, right? She wants to learn stuff. She wants to compete. She wants to get the next title in her progression, her job progression. And so gamification is kind of interesting, right? We are currently in Las Vegas. If ever there was a capital in the world for gamification, we're in it right now, right? We've all played video games. We all know what that is. We've all seen slots, right? Vegas is a fascinating case study in gamification because the whole city is designed for you to spend money. You walk around in these rooms full of games to play and opportunities to win, right? And you allowed to those because they don't want you to leave. They want you to stay. That's the whole point, right? And so it's honestly so interesting. I could talk about this for hours. But anyways, engagement, adoption, purchases. This is what marketers typically use gamification for, right? We're trying to get you to engage. We're trying to get you to join the loyalty program. We're trying to get you to purchase again. We really want you to adopt the new feature we just launched, and we'd love it if you renewed. These are all things we want. And so game mechanics are a really good way to actually propel engagement with customers, right? So earning progression, going to the next level, earning badges, right? Oh, you gave us a review with G2 last month. That's a badge. Oh, you've given 5 reviews with G2. That's another badge, right? Giving a leaderboard. Alice likes competition. You know that she's probably up somewhere near the top. And then the final thing here is points that can actually be exchanged for rewards. So I'll talk a bit about the different types of rewards that we offer our customers. But just know that sometimes these are monetary things, right? Sometimes we're talking about gift cards, but sometimes we're talking about experiences or a book they want to read, discounts, whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever they like, you can offer it. You can get creative. So why is this important? Well, we've talked about this a bit already, but we're all driving towards purchase. And that gives you a customer, that gives you a user, hopefully an enthusiast, hopefully a loyal customer, and hopefully at the very end of that, you get someone who's a vocal champion and evangelist of your product and your brand. And what do? Well, they send more people into the funnel, they convince more people, and you get this cycle. But you can add sort of fuel to this loop, this feedback loop. One of the pieces of fuel you can add is an advocate, right? Someone who will help move things through the sales cycle, who will crush objections, who will convince people who are hard to convince to buy. But you can also add things like gamification, or you can use an advocate community, which is what we do, right? So we drive customer engagement, we build community, we try to enhance the customer experience as much as possible. We want to deepen loyalty, and we want to boost advocacy. So now I'm going to talk a bit about customer marketing, product marketing. All of our customer marketers are next door. Product marketers are in this room. But in many ways, sometimes these rooms should be shared, right? I don't know about you guys, but I work next to my customer marketer at work. We sit in desks that are adjacent to each other, and we talk the most on Slack, other than maybe my director of product. So customer marketer and product, those are the two people I really talk to the most. And the roles that we kind of have defined, on the one hand, I'm focused on things like messaging and positioning, competitive intelligence. My customer marketer is a bit more focused on our reference program, our advocacy. But then there are some things that we partner on, right? So adoption, retention, expansion, and enablement. These are all things that we work together on. And so, some of the other stuff that we collaborate on: persona development, customer engagement, marketing campaigns, messaging, positioning, product launches, collecting customer feedback, generating third-party reviews and testimonials, relaying the voice of customer to key stakeholders. That might be the most important thing, honestly, in some ways, right? Making sure that the CEO knows when people are happy and unhappy, why they're happy and unhappy, what's going on in the market, who knows. Sometimes it's the customer who's been aggressively targeted by all the competition. It's a great source of information. What are people trying to sell you right now? Tell me, I want to know. We want to find speakers for events, and so much more. So there's so many different things that we kind of work together on, and then we use our community as the place that we do a lot of this collaboration. That's kind of our tech stack. So this all happens in one place. It is this place, Influitive VIP. You'll notice that we have some of our engagement tiles at the top. So if you click on one of those rectangles, sort of what you see on the middle of the screen, that takes you into an activity. The completion of that activity gives you points. Those points can then later be spent on rewards. Probably noticed some other cool things. There's a little thing called the daily bonus in the bottom right. That is an incentive to sign in multiple days in a row. We want people to come and visit. We want people to come and engage. We use that. We also have discussions. You'll see those at the bottom there. And we use discussions primarily in 3 ways. The first way is product ideas. Second way is product announcements. And the third way is getting customers to communicate with each other and to actually network and learn from each other and to learn from us. So a customer marketer uses an advocate community in a couple different ways. First big way is research, so persona development, CSAT, NPS, CX surveys, company feedback, trying to figure out which customers are knowledgeable, like who are our experts, right? The next thing is recruitment, so CABs and VOCCs. A CAB is a customer advisory board, for people who don't know. User groups, event speakers, webinar presenters, growing the reference pool. We've got reviews and testimonials, so gathering all those third-party reviews, G2, TrustRadius, Gartner, Trustpilot, Amazon, whatever it is, you want reviews on those sites. Getting product and services testimonials, customer stories, case studies, ebooks. And then another thing that we'll do is we'll try to expand our reach on social. So we want to increase brand awareness, boost shares and retweets on our desired content. We want to bump up comments and likes on specific posts, measure amplification and engagement. These are all things that we do, again, with the platform. We run our reference program through this, so we're managing our reference pool. Anytime a rep is looking for a sales reference, they are going through this platform, and then we're sort of automatically populating our community with these requests. And then we sort of do some further targeting, understanding things like vertical, use case, product location, all that stuff. And then, of course, we personalize all of our engagement. This is a bit more of a recipe for how to do a reference, but anyways. We also do referrals, so generating leads to build sales pipeline, finding new members for the community with pure referrals. We recruit new employees using this tactic, and we also gather recommendations for new partners. So that's a lot of stuff. That's basically what customer marketing is focused on. That's maybe a bit of an exhaustive list, but you get the idea. They're doing a lot in this community, and the question I think that we're here to ask is, okay, what does a product marketer do? If I have access to this tool, how do I use it? And I think the way that I think about this is customer engagement is kind of required throughout the product lifecycle. So there's ideation, right? I want you to tell me what you want, just so I know. I want to map the idea space. I want to understand what you want. There's design. I want you to test things. I want you to prototype with us. I want you to meet with my designers. I want you to tell me what's good. I really want you to then use it. I want you to join my beta programs. Then at the time of launch, I want you to obviously engage with the content. I want you to try the new feature. And then adoption, right? It's not just about getting them to read the post on Facebook or whatever, LinkedIn, but I really want you to learn how to use something. And so engagement is kind of required at all of these different stages. And so the way that we do ideation is we start with an activity. So we tell our customers, hey, please submit your ideas to our product team. If you do this, you will earn 100 points. We then ask our customers to vote on their favorite ideas. If you do this, you will earn 100 points. We then ask them to take a survey. Hey, we have some items we want to add to our roadmap. Give us some feedback. 100 points. Can our design team interview you? Here's a Calendly link. Can we book a call with you? You say yes, we'll give you 100 points. We have a prototype that needs testing. Here's a link to a maze prototype. Please go test it. 100 points. Hey, we have a new beta. You want to join the beta program? Go for it. And the cool thing about this is when we do recruitment for any of our programs, the second the hand raiser says yes, they are automatically added to a group, and then I can target that group with further content. So our recruitment and sort of life cycle engagement is all done with this sort of pipeline. It's really, really useful. The next thing that we do is we have our launch, right? So any kind of launch materials that we want people to engage with, hey, if you engage with this, 100 points. Hey, if you share this new product, 100 points. And then, of course, if we have additional kind of adoption or enablement content, maybe we have a webinar that we want people to attend, register for the webinar, attend the webinar, we'll give you points for each of those things. And then what's nice is, this person has been involved throughout the product launch process, and what they're gonna get on the other end is not just, a direct impact on your roadmap, not just information on what's new, but they'll also get maybe a gift card or a book or a discount on services, or maybe even something a bit more unique to them. Perhaps they're dying to meet with your CEO. That could be a reward, right? There's all these different things that customers want, and really what they want in a lot of cases is defined by sort of what their personality is. So we have our educators, people who are looking to just share ideas and to learn. We have our validators, people who are there to take surveys and give you feedback. We have our status seekers, people who want to speak at events, who want to be seen as thought leaders. And we have our collaborators. And these tend to be a little bit more senior. These are people who maybe belong to a different C-suite, the C-suite that's not at your company, but they love talking about strategy. They love talking about markets. They would love to tell you what they think is about to happen in the next 6 months, 12 months, right? Those are really helpful contacts to engage with, especially when you're talking about strategy and market intelligence. So these different people are sort of here to engage with you for different reasons, and it's good to know what those reasons are. And so when it comes to rewards, of course, there's also a different type of reward for different types of people. Some people just want gift cards. Some people want to donate to charity. Some people would like discounts or event tickets, and some people would just like to read. Maybe it's a fictional book that they've had their eye on for a while, or maybe it's something that will actually help them advance in their career. Whatever it is, you can find out by asking them in the community, storing that information for later, and then targeting a reward to them that matches what they care about. And as a matter of fact, speaking of rewards, we are doing a raffle, and you can win a pair of custom sneakers. So if that interests you, and maybe it does, we hope it does, stop by the Influitive booth. You can scan the QR code, fill out the form, and we will enter you into the raffle for a custom pair of shoes. And with that, yes. How do you find balance in networking content versus company-driven content? We have a community, want to motivate our customers to use it and ask questions. That is the question. That is the question. Because when we are trying to communicate to customers, it's a lot of megaphoning, right? Hey, come to the webinar. Hey, hop on a reference call. Hey, we have this thing we really want you to read. Everybody's busy, right? Nobody has an attention span anymore. Everybody's on Slack, right? How do you help me? That's what I care about. How do you make me more efficient, right? And so I think the trick with any kind of engagement content and trying to figure out, okay, how much networking do we have? How much company-driven content do we have? It's really been understanding what it is that's going to drive value for the customer. And that might be in their personal life. Maybe they want to purchase something on Amazon, figure out how to help them do that. Maybe they're trying to advance in their career. We have to help them figure out how to do that. Maybe they are scared to network, but they really want to try, right? How can we facilitate them networking? How can we help them grow? And so I think the trick is that what is good for your customers is often good for your business, right? And so the way I think about it is focus on making them successful, focus on making them feel heard and safe, give them ways to engage with you, and then let them know, give them feedback that you've heard them, and try to help them understand, like, we are here because you are here. Without you, we don't exist. And so anything that we can do to make you successful, that is, I think, the key. when it comes to content. Okay, outside of points, any other creative ideas to get frequently? I think with content, TikTok, and so the question is, I think, what is it that's going to get someone to check in multiple times a day? And I think it's fundamentally two things. The first is that they are getting new value every time they arrive. There is something new for them to do. There are new points to earn. There is a novel opportunity, or there is a chance to learn something. So there's always something for them there's always something driving value every time they log in. And that's a bit of a treadmill. It's not easy to do that, right? It's not easy to always be delivering value, but if that's your mindset, you'll be successful. How important is it to reward with standard or variable points and challenges? So I think the trick with any kind of sort of semi-transactional engagement is you don't want to give points when someone doesn't do something, right? So for example, if you are doling out points for reference calls, if someone raises their hand and says, I'm going to act as a reference, but then they never get on a call, should they get the points? No, right? That's not how this works. You have to earn it. And so I think the trick is, what is going to take the hardest? I'm going to reward you. If you don't do it, I'm not going to reward you. And I think that's kind of the balance. What is the minimally viable size of the community to be effective? That is a really, really good question. And so I think the good answer to this question is that you can operate at any size. The secondary part of this question is, when do you need technology to help you? I think anybody can work with a 10-person customer advisory board and can get a ton of value out of that. You can learn a lot from a small group of customers, especially if you are not overly biased in any one industry, any one job title, any particular level of seniority, right? If you're talking to your users and your buyers and you are cultivating that feedback loop and communication, and maybe that's the group that you go to for things like reference calls, you can get a lot of value out of that small group, and you probably don't need technology when you have 10 people you're trying to engage with. But when you want to scale, there's some point that you kind of cross, and it's hard to know exactly what that point is for everybody, but usually it's when you have a bunch of spreadsheets and a bunch of emails, and you just can't keep up anymore. That's usually when you size. It's a little, whatever it is, there needs to be regular engagement with customers. How do you motivate the VP and CXO levels to participate in the community? They may not be motivated by points and gift cards. Great question. So yeah, VPs and CXOs, are they going to go in the community? No, never. They're not going to go. They don't care. They don't have time, right? You're going to ask them to come into the community, and they're going to be like, why? I'm not the user. I don't need to go to your support forum. I don't need to talk to other people in the community. Nobody's my seniority level, right? Great. There's a bunch of middle-level managers. I'm a CMO. I don't care, right? Like, my job is not to do that. My job is to go out and to find information that is novel, to find risks, and to operate efficiently. Going into a community is very hard to justify if every minute of your time feels like you don't want to give it away, right? Because as a senior person, there are so many things that are pulling your attention as a problem and see, right? Your managers are new, right? You have time to try to involve them in questions. Hey, CXO, we are hotly debating whether to do this on our roadmap or to do this on our roadmap. What do you think? Right? Those are the kinds of questions that they want to become involved in, because they want to influence not just the button in the product, they want to influence the new product that you launched like 2 years away, right? They want to be the ones to tell you, oh yeah, I think that this is the opportunity in the market and you should go after that. So I would recommend trying to connect with them on that level. Yeah, how do you ensure authentic and genuine advocacy if motivation is points-driven? That's a really good question. So advocacy fundamentally has kind of two components to it. There's the operational side of it, which is the request and the action, and then sort of recording that and making sure that everything actually takes place. There are ways to kind of speed that up, right? So points are a good way to get people to try advocating for the first time. They're good to, just help customers understand that they're appreciated and acknowledged. But your company has a really bad support team, if your company has a product team that never listens, if your marketing team never talks to customers, if your sales team is full of assholes, you're not going to get advocacy. It's that simple, right? Like, it's not complicated, but we forget this sometimes, right? We think that we can trick people into liking what we do. No, you can't. And they know product's broken, and they know deliver the best that we possibly. People, we sit at the center of the organization. We know, and so that's why advocacy do, right? We know how customer success is enabling. We know how sales is selling. Like, these are all things that allow you to kind of sit at the center of the organization, have a good kind of radar, and I think you can often be the canary in the coal mine when things aren't working the way they're supposed to. So that would be my recommendation. All right, I don't see any other questions, but...
Other questions? Questions? I have one, because this is something that I've looked at doing to point systems and trying to build advocacy and things like that. I'm gonna step away from that speaker. If you're working with smaller business, let's go all the way down. Consumer, small business, enterprise, there's a lot of variation and a lot of different types of personas and people that you would have to build this type of program for. What would be the best kind of a strategy, I guess, if you're like selling or trying to create advocates for multiple layers of that, or maybe you're a more enterprise company and maybe you're strictly selling to VPs and CXOs. Like, does the size of the company matter? Curious about how that would be best implemented.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because say you're a product-led company, or let's take it down even further. Say, yes, dealing with the consumer segment, to people to advocate Starbucks app, they have to join the, how do you activate that person further? And the trick is basically you have to do it while you at what size is going to work the best for your message, for your requests, and you need to meet the customer where they are, and that will vary a bit depending on like who you're dealing with and what you sell. What I will say is that I think when this works the best is often when there's a recurring revenue relationship with a customer, and where you might have multiple users at a company or multiple people that you're in contact with at a company, so that you can get the individual users advocating, the sort of executive sponsors advocating, and there's an additional kind of sneaky incentive built in, and that is that companies that care about recurring revenue relationships with customers care about customer experience and care about retention, right? The world is more competitive than it's ever been. Everybody's trying to figure out how to deliver the best, and so I would say that I think this type of program works really well when you have that sort of recurring revenue relationship. So B2B tech is a great segment, yeah. All right, I think that's time. So thank you so much.
Plus. Okay.